Okay, I've been talking a little bit about what I'm doing with the footsteps and the kcals that I'm trying to burn each day. Talking about it briefly on this platform, but I'm going to give a little bit more insight into it. So I'm trying to do a marathon PB this year. I want to try and get my marathon PB is 3:08:52, I think, somewhere in around that, 3:08:50. And when I raced Valencia last year, I did 3:11. When I was coming to that race, I didn't have the base I usually would have had. I think it was almost 6 years since I had raced a marathon for a couple of different reasons, pandemic being mainly the highest one. I've done a lot of cycling, so I was doing some half Ironman or 70.3 training. So this year I'm going to go for it again with the Valencia Marathon. I think Valencia is definitely the course that I can do it on. If I'm going to PB, I'll be 48 on race day, age 48. So I think Valencia is definitely a course that I can do a PB on. Last year I wore the Alphafly shoes in that race, and I think they're probably one of the most comfortable shoes I've ever worn, so I think they're the shoes that I can use. And the marathon plan that I wrote myself last year was very good. I really enjoyed it. I enjoyed doing it. I managed to keep myself happy and positive throughout the training. So that's going to be the training program that I use again this year. So that I think is the proper program. I would change a couple of little things in it from last year. So last year I'd probably add a couple of more longer runs, and I would definitely add some more marathon pace miles or kilometers ran at marathon pace. So there, all those things I can box off fairly easy. I'm fitter now this year than I was when I was coming into the marathon training last year, so that all bodes well. But one of the things on race day that I've never had to address before was that I just felt that I ran out of energy. And what I mean by that is I felt I had done a lot of stuff right. I mean, I got myself back to run 3:11, so I was very pleased with that. It turns out now that looks like it's going to be a Boston qualifying time, although I'm not sure I'm going to go to America at the moment. But yeah, I just had this feeling that I just wasn't able to get the energy that my body needed. My legs felt well, my legs didn't get tired. The slowdown of this marathon came as a conscious thing. The slowdown of Valencia, it was at the halfway point. I was running at 4:22 per kilometre, which is 3:05 pace. But when I got to halfway, I was feeling really good, feeling really fresh, but I just knew that I wasn't going to be able to drop another half marathon at that pace. So I consciously slowed down a little bit, and I didn't walk at all on that marathon, but I did struggle towards the end just a little bit. There was a couple of kilometres where I was a little bit slower than what I was kind of hoping to be. And the reason was, it wasn't the legs. I don't even think it was the cardiovascular fitness. I think it was just the body's ability to get energy, and that energy coming from the fat source just wasn't there. So the reason for that is I need to bring up my metabolic fitness. The metabolic fitness just wasn't what it was like 6 years ago, or maybe 8 years ago, probably when I set that marathon PB. I think it was around 39 when I hit that one. My metabolic fitness would have been great, you know, I was moving a lot, I was very active. Well, as you get older and you start to lose that muscle mass, you don't have the ability to rip through those fat stores like you did when you were younger. It definitely changes, and I definitely noticed it, and that 6 year period is something that it crept up on me, but I didn't see it coming. But anyway, it's here now. So this year what I'm doing is I'll go through all the stuff that I did last year, the same marathon training, change into a couple of things. It'll be the same course, the same shoes. Everything's going to be great because I think that all went well. But I'm trying to burn at least 1,500 to 2,000 kilocalories a day on my watch, okay? Now I know the science isn't absolutely correct, but last year, when I look back last year, average was getting about 890, I think was the average each day. There was obviously a couple of higher days when I was doing those long, either the really hard and longer intensity sessions or the long runs at the weekend. But yeah, if I was doing a long day last year, it was probably coming up around 1,500 to 2,000. So I'm trying to get that most days, and one of the ways I'm doing that is I'm doing a good bit of walking. As the year progresses and the days get shorter and the weather gets worse, I'll probably do what I really love doing, is cycling on my bike in the turbo, just 150, 160 watts, and just like do an hour, and that will be probably similar to an hour walking. So that's the plan, and the reason is I just want to keep my body up. As you do that really low intensity exercise, your body builds or produces more mitochondria in the muscle, and it's in there where you get your energy from. So they're little energy stations, and if you do that at low intensity exercise, you get really good at burning fat. I'm trying to just kind of, already I'm starting, like I didn't start last year, I'm kind of addressing the diet. Like I eat pretty well most of the time. I say pretty well, I mean a little bit above average, you know. I eat a fair amount of junk. I drink a fair bit of wine. I like to go out with my mates and have a pint of Guinness and whatnot. Yeah, I'm by no means your stand-up boy for how somebody should eat. You know, I like to enjoy myself. I do all this exercise because I like to kind of enjoy myself in life. I don't do it to kind of punish myself and avoid all the things that I like. To me, it would be pointless if I had to give up the things I like in life in terms of food and drinking because I want to get a faster marathon. Then it just wouldn't be worth it for me. I just wouldn't do it, and I don't do it anyway. The point being, I've tidied up my diet a little bit. Just start to trim some of that junk food and, you know, replace it with some higher kind of protein meals, and, you know, making sure I'm getting those carbs and getting better carbs instead of just eating chocolate bars. You know, having something like pita bread and hummus, and I don't know, high carb stuff. My point is, I'm just trying to change a couple of things. As I'm burning that extra energy each day to 1500, 2000 kilocalories, you gotta, I didn't see it coming, you gotta fuel a lot. Some days I just come into the kitchen and I'm like, peanut butter, and just wash it into a wrap with some jam and just get it into me because I'm absolutely famished. But the weight has started to come down a little bit, which is good. Last year on race day I think it was about 80, 81 kilos. So this year I want to be maybe 77 kilos. I think if I get down that light, it'd be absolutely brilliant. I think that would really stand to me come marathon day. And that's pretty much what I'm doing with that footsteps and kilocalories. That's why I'm doing it. Like I said, I want to just become much more fat adaptive. I want to be able to draw on all that energy that's stored in my body come race day. And I think the only way to do that, like I said, I can take care of all the other stuff, the cardiovascular stuff, the VO2 max, I can get all that up, but I just never addressed that metabolic fitness before, because I think up until now I haven't really needed to, but I definitely need to now, and that's what I'm doing with the footsteps and the kilocalories being burnt in the watch. Yeah, so a couple of people have asked me about that across YouTube, and some people have asked me through email and on Instagram. That's it. So anyway, you know what to do, guys. Run far, fast, but most of all, run sensible.